Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sean Andrew, back with another review. This time we'll be talking about Shameless, Season 2, Episode 3, I'll Light a Candle for You Every Day. Now, the main storylines in this one is, the first one is dealing with Veronica and Kev. Kev decides, or he's going to continue thought of wanting to buy the bar. And as he's running past these ideas with Veronica, she is trying to be very supportive and staying face and saying, yes, you should do it, go ahead, baby, make the move. But secretly, she's like, no, this is horrible. He can't even keep a pair of clean drawers. So him buying a bar would just be a bit too much for him to handle. She does eventually end up kind of telling him the all-out truth. They do kind of argue for a little bit. And at the very end of it, it does show of him having some type of luau party to kind of help to promote the bar. And it's just going to be interesting to see how that part turns out, because their dynamic as a couple is already good for what it's worth. And it's the stereotypical where the man wants to do something, and I don't really think he sees the full amount of work and pressure it's going to take to make something happen. And where you kind of get the female who's trying to be there and, not trying to be that nagging wife, if you will, but still she's seeing it a bit more clearly. Tensions kind of raised, especially when Kev decides, well, we can put your name or your mother's name down, and as a form of credit or collateral. And she's definitely, Veronica's definitely feeling like, no, we're not going to mess up our credit line because of this silly idea. So again, it's going to be interesting how he actually works that out, because I do think he's going to go through with buying it. I think it's great because his father's become a bit more senile. He's still yelling at people outside the window. This time, Kev's catching him with no pants on, and he swears he has pants on. That part's also kind of sad, because you can definitely see maybe a form of Alzheimer's kind of happening for him. So they do need to get him in the home with proper care. The second main storyline we're going to talk about is dealing with Fiona. Fiona has two dilemmas in this situation. The first one, she finds a purse on the L train, and she spends just about 80% of the money in the purse. She takes the kids out to get something to eat, and she goes out and buys groceries. She contacts the lady who owns the purse, offers to return it, shows up, and she tells the lady, oh no, there was no money in there. And they say, oh, well, thank you anyway. But she also learns that the lady actually has a bunch of kids, and that the money was supposed to be for rent. Now, feeling bad, she then gets up the $500, goes back and returns it to her. But before she exchanges the money, or at least gives the money over, the lady starts calling her a bitch and a whore, and they start yelling cunt back at each other. And she's like, I know you stole it. And, Fiona's like, you know what? Forget it. I'll keep the money myself. So that was interesting, and kind of an interesting level of karma in its own right, that lady just would have held her mouth shut. She would have had the money. She shouldn't have said nothing at all. And, the other dilemma for her is her childhood sweetheart. She had this beautiful sexual experience in her head as we start off the episode, and towards the end, she finally gets a chance to actually have sex with him, and he is a horrible lay. It's in the back of his minivan, and there's cereal on the floor, dirty diapers, and he's kind of flailing around like a fish out of water. And she had a moment of weakness after that, and ends up calling Steve, and they just kind of say hi, and then says bye. And Steve, on the other hand, when they pan back to see what he's doing, he apparently is getting head on the balcony overlooking the beach. So Steve apparently is doing great, which is interesting because it's a similar life that he offered her back at the end of season 1. But, family comes first. So at least in another case, Steve was getting ready to come first. But anyway, now we move to the final main storyline, which is Frank. Frank comes home one afternoon, and he finds out that Karen's boyfriend is looking to propose. And he shows him the ring, and Frank sees an opportunity, takes the ring, uses that ring to propose to Dottie. And he talks about, what is going to happen with your pension? You shouldn't let the government keep it. Your daughter is estranged from you. I will be here, and I will light a candle for you every day. I'll have them throw a big service. I remember you, blah, blah, blah. She finally says, okay, you know what? Fine, we'll get married. On the day they were supposed to go up to the courthouse, she decides she doesn't want to go. She's going to give the money to her daughter, and she's going to give her house to the nuns. In return, she's like, Frank, I want you to have sex with me. Frank's kind of off, like, what's going on? And she says, look, I'll give you $2,000 and a flat screen TV. And again, in Frank fashion, Frank goes ahead, has sex with her, and she dies. It's kind of a part where you're kind of like, go Frank, but then when you see what happens, it's kind of like, I should not be enjoying this one part, because it's such a sad moment. But at the very end, Frank does go to the church. He does light a candle and almost like says a prayer, and then he ends up stealing the box that people put donations in. Again, he's definitely Frank through and through. I actually like this episode so far more than the previous episodes. This one I thought had a lot of ups and downs in a dramatic way, but also in a comedy way. It was a lot better balance than I felt from other episodes. So I definitely can't wait to see what happens next season. Please feel free to leave your comments down below and what your thoughts on with the show. My name is Sean Andrew with the TV Show Review, and this has been my review of Shameless, Season 2, Episode 3, I'll Light a Candle for You Every Day. See ya.